Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. There's really only one reaction here, and I know a lot of people get uncomfortable when I use cuss words, but what the is going on? You know, you can't help but have a profanity-filled reaction to the current state of the legal system. The legal system is being used as a Democrat Party weapon to attack the Republican frontrunner. There is no other way to say it. You literally don't need evidence anymore. You just need to file charges in the state of New York, or specifically in New York City, and boom, just like that, you get a jury, and the jury will simply find Donald Trump guilty because reasons. Orange man bad. Donald Trump was literally just found guilty, liable, of defamation and assault of an adult nature, you guys know the word I'm trying to avoid here, based on literally nothing. Just an empty accusation, a finger pointed at him, and boom, the individual making the accusation has just been awarded $5 million in damages. You can't make this stuff up. Justice is dead. There is no justice. There's no law and order. The legal system has been totally corrupted, perverted. I don't know if there's any going back from this. I mean, precedent is being set. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. Let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so just a quick little update just so you guys are up to date with what's going on. Here's just a basic lamestream media report on the topic.
Good afternoon. We're coming on the air because the jury has now reached a decision in writer E. Jean Carroll's and defamation lawsuit against former President Trump. The jury in this civil trial just moments ago finding Donald Trump liable of battery and liable of defamation in connection with claims brought by E. Jean Carroll. Carroll accusing the former president of assaulting her in Bergdorf Goodman's department store back in 1996.
David, this jury reached its verdict in a little bit of under 3 hours of deliberations after getting the case earlier today, and they found that E. Jean Carroll was battered and defamed by former President Trump. Interestingly, David, the jury did not find that Carroll proved by a preponderance of evidence that Trump actually her. However, they did find a lesser degree of battery, finding that Trump abused E. Jean Carroll in that department store in the mid-1990s. And for that, they awarded $2 million in compensatory damages. More damages were awarded for defamation. They found that Trump did defame Carroll in the form of a social media statement from October of 2022 in which he said that Carroll was not his type, in which he called her claim a hoax and a con job. And for that, the jury awarded another $2 million in compensatory damages, all told.
And now we covered this topic just a couple days ago and we went through some of the accounts. There's two individuals, Jean Carroll and I forget the other woman's name, one second. Jessica Leeds, that's who it was. So you have a couple women that have simply pointed the finger at Donald Trump, essentially claiming that he's a predator. They've made their claims. We covered the Jessica Leeds situation in a previous video just a couple days ago, so I'm not going to rehash that one. In this case, it's the E. Jean Carroll situation, where supposedly in the mid-90s, Donald Trump just assaulted her in the middle of a department store. This was a claim that she made, I think, back in 2016 or 2017. And while, you know, it's a story, it really doesn't and shouldn't go beyond that point. Here's the problem with Mrs. Jean Carroll's story. She has literally not a single shred of evidence. It's simply a he said, she said, hearsay situation. In fact, just to really put the lack of evidence into perspective, Mrs. E. Jean Carroll can't even provide a date. She just claimed that it happened somewhere between 1995 and 1996. And beyond the fact that there's literally no details or evidence, the whole accusation, the whole case is incredibly concerning. The Washington Examiner did a great piece here. Flashback. The lawsuit accusing former President Donald Trump of RAPE, Carroll v. Trump, goes to the jury on Tuesday. Maybe the decision will be quick and maybe it won't. In any event, it is important to remember that the accuser, former Elle writer E. Jean Carroll, does not have to prove that anything happened about 27 years ago when she said Trump attacked her in the dressing room of a Tony, New York department store. All Carroll has to do is convince the New York area jury that the assault more likely than not happened. It's a far lower standard than a criminal charge of RAPE, and even that charge in a lawsuit could not have been brought without New York's one-time only #MeToo law law, allowing people who said that they were victimized many years ago but never brought charges to take action against the person they say attacked them. If you haven't been following Carroll v. Trump, it is, given that it involves Trump, a highly politicized affair. Here from last month is the background of the case, including some of the things the judge in the trial made sure the jury was not told about. Jury selection began on April 25th in a lawsuit brought against Trump by Carroll, who says Trump RAPE'd her sometime in 1995 or 1996. Carroll, now 79, cannot remember which year it was, but at a minimum, the alleged attack took place about 27 years ago. Although she says she told two friends about it at the time, the writer Lisa Birnbach and the New York television newswoman Carol Martin, Carroll did not report the alleged crime to any authorities. She did not tell anyone else. Years passed, the statute of limitations for the charge came and went. Even when 20 years later Trump ran for president and other women accused him of misconduct, Carroll remained silent. Carroll says that she did not speak up because of her elderly mother, a longtime Republican, who was ill, and Carroll did not want to set off a distracting controversy. She also worried that accusing Trump might actually help his campaign in some key states in the 2016 election, and she most certainly did not want to help Trump win, so for personal and political reasons, she remained silent. Carroll has said changed her mind. In late 2017, when the powerful Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein was accused of assault, the hashtag #MeToo movement began and gathered steam. To Carroll, it suddenly seemed possible that even Trump could be held to account. Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what went through her mind, that Trump could be held to account, more like it'd be good for her bank account. Clearly it was. Yet even then, Carroll did not speak out. It was not until 2019 that Carroll publicly accused Trump, who by that time was president of the United States. Why in 2019? Because she had a product to sell. In the spring of 2019, Carroll began a promotional tour for a book in which she described what she says Trump did to her. As a part of the promotion, in the run-up to the book's publication, Carroll appeared on the cover of New York Magazine wearing the same dress as she was wearing when Trump allegedly attacked her in a dressing room at the New York department store Berghoff Goodman more than 2 decades later. Carroll has said that she broke the news in a book because she did not want to tell the police or an elected official or a journalist what had happened. Yes, I'm sure that's the reason. Perhaps that is the case. It is also true that writing a book, unlike going to the police, was a way to make money while making news, and in this case, it was a book with a spectacular allegation in any event. The incident that allegedly happened in 1995 or 1996 did not become public until 2019 when New York ran an excerpt of Carroll's new book. The excerpt was titled Hideous Men, and the book was What Do We Need Men For? We'll skip some of the rest of the fluff in the article. That is where things stood when Carroll, by then a darling of the anti-Trump resistance, attended a party at a Manhattan home of another resistance figure, the writer Molly Jong-Fast, a very familiar name. The party was in honor of yet another resistance figure, the comedian Kathy Griffin. Among those in attendance was still another resistance figure, the lawyer George Conway. The gathering was, in the words of a New York Times account, resistance Twitter come to life. Conway was someone important for Carroll to meet. A high-powered lawyer back in the 1990s, he had been part of the so-called Elves, a group of lawyers who secretly helped Paula Jones sue President Bill Clinton for harassment. By 2019, Conway was in a far different position. His wife, Kellyanne Conway, ran Trump's campaign and went to the White House as a top advisor. For his part, George Conway was originally interested in a big job in the Trump Justice Department. Later, when that did not happen, he became virulently anti-Trump, so much so that he would be invited to a party for Griffin at Jong-Fast's apartment. At that party, Conway became an elf all over again. He essentially takes up the case. The lawsuit is born, and then here's where there's another conflict of interest. She is also receiving financial support in the case, and no one should be surprised to learn that it's coming from Resistance World. As part of the pretrial depositions, the news emerged that tech billionaire Reid Hoffman is bankrolling Carroll's case. Like so many other individuals involved on Carroll's side, Hoffman is profoundly anti-Trump. He is not afraid to push the envelope of his anti-Trumpism. In 2018, he apologized for funding a group that secretly imitated Russian disinformation tactics in an attempt to benefit the Democrat in the Alabama special election for U.S. Senate, a story that we covered a while ago. So let's really get this straight and put it into perspective. You have a woman with a totally unsubstantiated claim. She has no evidence. She doesn't even remember when it happened. Her best friend basically sides with her and testifies that it really happened in the 1990s. That's essentially the entire case, or the damning evidence of the case. The woman accusing Donald Trump never said anything until the hashtag #MeToo movement launched, but again, never went to the authorities, never pursued anything legally. She decided to write a book and then do a media tour attacking these supposedly awful men in New York with Donald Trump as the flagship figure. She schmoozes and teams up with a bunch of anti-Trump Twitter resistance people, takes on George Conway to lead the case, and is funded by a tech billionaire who funds literal propaganda and misinformation campaigns to attack Republicans. That That's the summation of the case, and by the way, a lot of that information wasn't even greenlit to be presented to the jury in the case itself, and boom, just like that, the jury unanimously finds Donald Trump guilty of assault and defamation in a 3-hour deliberation. It looks like it was already a foregone conclusion. And another interesting element, and quite ironically, they found Donald Trump not guilty of the actual RAPE. So essentially what they're saying is that there was no evidence to support the core component of Jean Carroll's accusation, but there was sufficient evidence to support that Donald Trump was there and actually assaulted her, and also defamed her. I mean, it literally makes no sense. They came to the conclusion that Trump didn't actually do the worst part of the accusation, but he probably did something to a lesser extent, and we know that because, well, Orange Man bad, or I don't know, some nonsense. The left, once again, of course, as predictable as ever, is doing victory laps on this topic. Trump has been found guilty. Obviously, it's going to be used to attack him. It's going to add legitimacy to their claims that Donald Trump is some sort of predator. But what we know here is that clearly this is some sort of campaign propaganda defamation situation. The Democrats abusing their power and influence within the legal system. It's a continuation of the endless witch hunt on abuse of power, on abuse of the legal system to take down a political opponent. And of course, considering how things are currently going, it's most likely going to continue. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump is found guilty in the Stormy Daniels case now in New York. Clearly, these juries are rigged. Oh, and by the way, another update on that topic. Trump has officially been hit with a gag order as predicted. In other words, Donald Trump is no longer allowed to defend himself against these ridiculous accusations as a US presidential candidate. Welcome to democracy in 2023, and most likely we're going to see something happen in Georgia. It's never ending. The Democrats are completely out of control. They are actively destroying the most sacred institutions. The legal system has been compromised by the DNC. Welcome to the dystopian future. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.